for one reason. I'm watching the news, and they're in Minneapolis talking about the defunding of the police department, and they're all pissed off in Minneapolis about the police department has not been defunded, right? Well, the thing is, what the fuck defunding the police department they do? Huh? Huh? Answer me that. What's it gonna do? It's gonna cause people to get their asses kicked on the street. People walking around with machetes, AKs, and all that shit, shooting people. You know, the thing is, this whole shit started. Now, don't get me wrong. What happened to George Floyd was a bad thing. But the thing is, George Floyd was no angel. Okay? Him and that officer had history together of George Floyd being an asshole. But George Floyd didn't need to die the way he did, with that officer being judge and jury and taking his life. But the thing is, here's the thing. You cannot defund the police departments. You will have total chaos in the United States. I mean, look at Tucson. We haven't defunded the police department, but we're down to 320 police officers. And they can't handle the load they're handling. 1,200 calls a night for service. People running around with machetes. Butcher knives. AKs on their chest. All this shit. They can't protect the city. And our office is left because of the pay. Plain and simple. It's pitiful. It's pitiful the shit that goes on in law enforcement. It's not like it was back in the 70s and the 60s, or the 80s and the 90s even. But it's what it is. It's gotten worse. Okay? You cannot defund the police. I mean, bottom line, Minneapolis, they took 5% of the pay, the budget, and one of the city councilmen is bitching about it. He wants the whole thing taken off. You cannot defund a police department. Their crime has gone up 45%. Killings are up 32% in Minneapolis since George Floyd died. I mean, who's going to do an investigation on if someone's loved one gets killed? You can send Black Lives Matter out there and investigate it? I don't think so. How about Ghostbusters, motherfuckers? You really think that's going to work? Think about it real hard. Defund the police department. Now, let me hit on your Second Amendment right, dumb fuck Republicans. They don't want to back a extended background check. Joe Manchin of all people, a Democrat who thinks he's a Republican. Extended background check is one of those things that it will help keep guns out of the hands of people. Like the guy in Boulder, Colorado was mentally ill. He should have never been able to get a gun. Should not been able to get a gun, bottom line. He shouldn't, because he had mental issues. His brother said it. Bottom line, he was able to go out and get a AK handgun, an extended clip with 30 rounds in it, 3 of those, and he loaded them up and he started shooting people. 10 dead, I think 28 wounded. The bottom line, you can't do anything because HIPAA rules preclude them from doing anything. Psychiatrists and doctors. If someone's mentally incompetent, they cannot go into the NCIC system and put the information in there saying, hey, this guy cannot get a gun because he's mentally ill. Because of HIPAA rules and HIPAA laws. That's got to be changed. Background checks. Okay, say I have a gun and I want to sell it to someone. I'm a different type of person. I will go down to TPD. I will have them run him and see if he can get that gun. If he's got a felony, even if it's a fucking check fraud or anything, he's not getting that gun. He's not going to get that gun. It's not going to happen. So you got to force people that are going to sell guns independently that they have to make sure the person can get a gun. Same thing with gun shows and stuff like that. There's people that sell guns. There's a guy in Phoenix area. He does $80,000 a month on guns. $80,000 a month on guns. And you gonna tell me this motherfucker's doing background checks? No, he's not. No, I've already checked it. He's not. He's not. And he's a Trump supporter. Okay? You know? Then he posted shit on his Facebook page about how he's building his wife a big old house in Scottsdale. Wait until the IRS hits his ass and takes him to jail. He'll figure it out. But like I said, you know, AK, AR are killing guns for military. The Second Amendment was written in 1776. They had muskets. One shot, pull it out, refill it, pull it out, refill it, pull it out, refill it. There was no AKs, no handguns like we have now. They didn't have people with mental problems back then. They didn't have people, drug dealers back then. They didn't have domestic violence back then. They didn't have crazy ass people that wanted to kill their employers and employees back then. The Second Amendment is, to be honest with you, fucking outdated big time. It's outdated. Outdated big time. And all these fuckers think that police is going to go take their guns. Lindsey Graham's spreading this shit. Ted Cruz spreading this shit. You know, all the Republicans spreading this shit. They're going to take your guns away. Do you think the police department's going to go knock on your door and say, I want your AK and your AR, motherfucker? It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. Won't happen. Won't happen. Bottom line, it won't happen. Plain and simple. Won't happen. But people think in their mind it will happen. The ban on assault weapons, Clinton put that in place, and it was supposed to be renewed when Obama was in office, and the fucking Republicans had the House and the Senate. The fuckers did not renew it. They have to renew the assault weapon ban, that you can't buy an assault weapon. You know, bottom line, you can't buy it. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. If you have it, you got it. But that's it. You got a weapon, then you deserve to keep it. But they're not to buy a new one, no. Those things were made, the guys that designed the AKs and ARs made those for military use. And people got greedy and started selling them. Same thing with the bump stocks. Those are outlawed. No one bitched about that. You know, this is my opinion. This post is protected underneath my First Amendment right to the freedom of speech, to the Constitution. And this video is copyrighted by Joe Rocha. So there you go. You don't like it? Tough shit. Let's have a conversation about it. Message me. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I know more about guns and the law than most of you dumbass Trump people. And you don't want to go toe-to-toe with me because I will rip you a new ass. You know? Bottom line, it's bullshit. They don't want your guns, you dumbasses. Keep it straight. They don't want your guns. Everyone have a good evening.